Hi there, everybody. My good friend Will Lehr is with us and looking bearded now, a little longer beard since I saw you last time. You're looking handsome, looking good.
Thank you, my friend. It was, I guess it was the Santa themed beard,
Yeah.
and then it just, I'm stuck with it. So here we are.
You're in Texas now. How's
Yes,
Texas?
Texas is great. It's great. I left the West Coast, came back to Texas, was out there. San Diego was beautiful, loved it. But COVID happened, and it was just time to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just more friendly here, for
You're,
my standards.
you're one of many who have left California. Did you see Gavin Newsom the other day talking about he stood up and said, California is the free state. We're the one that are really giving you your freedoms. It was just like, whoa, unbelievable.
Yeah, the delusion is off the chain. It really is off the charts with these people.
We're recording this on midday Thursday, January 12th. Do you see cryptos today? Bitcoin is up over 18,700, 18,000. We're getting a
A
little
little
pump on
crypto
crypto.
rally. Yeah.
Yeah. Our analyst says I just talked to him. He said we went past the resistance. 18 was a resistance level. The next trouble could be 19,000, but he says if we can go through 19 through 20,000, it should be looking good. So
Yeah. Well,
let's
it's
talk a
anybody's
little.
guess.
Let's talk a little bit about where you see the economy overall. There are so many warning signs. What are some things that concern you about the overall? I mean, first of all, is debt, I would imagine.
The debt situation is off the charts. I mean, we've been on this path for myself personally 12, 13 years that I've been studying all of this stuff
Yeah.
and waiting for the inevitable. And pre-COVID, the numbers, the debt numbers, the monetary creation and stimulus numbers were off the charts, right?
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and in that, whatever the period was of the real heavy easing, the real heavy monetary easing during COVID, that
Yeah.
period, there was more money created in that small period than in the US in terms of the US dollar monetary creation than like the 90 years prior to it. I mean, the level at which the accelerator was slammed down
Yeah.
was unprecedented. And so here we are now, and it's almost like we're in this waiting game, right? We'll touch on some housing market statistics, which are
Yeah.
abysmal. The debt numbers. I was reading about this statistic here: $65 trillion in shadow debt. This was just recently
Yeah.
reported on.
Debt
In
is
dollar
going
debt,
like hockey stick now. It's just going up. It's in its end stages.
it
What
is.
what is that 65 trillion? I had heard somebody sent me a link to something called, was it FX? There's a trade that companies can do. Like if I'm a company in the US and I need to take out a loan in, say, Germany, and Germany's a company and they need to take out a loan in the US, is they do a swap. Like the German company will take out a loan and then the US company will only pay back the interest on that. And the Bank for International Settlements set out an alert saying such loans are now equaling 2 trillion a day, and it's something like 85 trillion off the books of
Yeah.
debt.
It's completely unrecorded. So these currency
Yeah.
swaps, right? I mean, this is the forex market. This is the currency exchange market.
Yeah.
Euro for yen, for dollars, for all of this, right? And it's the largest market in the world, right? And all of this debt produced by these currency swaps is completely unreported, right? And so the
Yeah.
numbers are off the chain. And if you go down this rabbit hole a little bit deeper and you look at the wider implications, if you will, on that 2.2 trillion in daily exposure. So that's every day there's 2.2 trillion in Forex settlements, right?
Yeah.
Dollars for yen, euro for whatever. That number, again, these debt numbers are not reported. These are off balance sheet numbers, but they're, especially if we go back to 2008 and 2020 market crashes,
Yeah.
and we looked at what happened to the Forex swaps, they were extremely tightly squeezed, which is two things that really can cause it: is exchange rate volatility and interest rate volatility, US interest rate volatility. And both of those are, I mean, look where we are right now. Look at the dollar. It is, all fiat currencies are, the dollar's rallying tremendously against all fiat. It's just a matter of time for some volatility before volatility hits that. And these numbers get affected dramatically.
The dollar is like the last game in town. Like all these other currencies are failing, and people need to put their money somewhere. So it's like painting themselves into a corner with the dollar. And the dollar had a big run. We've been watching that. It's 102 against the other currencies today. At some point, we expect a blow off top with the dollar. Like it's going to have its final hurrah, and then it'll crash down. And then we're going to see the fireworks begin. All these signs are just pointing to, we know this is an unsustainable system, just pure mathematically. It's got to go at some point. So what's happening with the housing market?
Housing market is insane. I mean, we looked at so we had actual housing statistics, new home sales, not new home sales, but actual existing home sales, which have slid. Let's see, I've got this written down right here. From November to the previous November, existing home sales plunged 35% year over year. That was the 16th month in a row of year over year declines, which marked a new historic trend. Yeah. Mortgage applications are not helping. So compared to a year ago, purchase mortgage applications have plunged by 44%. So that's on new purchases, right? Refinances are not helping either. So refis, I mean, all of us that are locked in at 2 and 3% from a year or 2, 3, 4 ago, whatever, nobody's refinancing right now. It's 6, 7%, unless you're a dire need to cash out or whatever. So refis have collapsed 86% year over year. Wells Fargo, who's the largest retail mortgage banker, they had, let's see, this was as of the end of early weeks of fourth quarter, they had 18,000 mortgages in their origination pipeline, new apps basically, which was down by 90% from a year prior. So the statistics are off the charts. And if we look at, there's nothing, this isn't getting any better. I mean, if we look at the housing scenario, this is,
as interest rates go up, that's going to put a further damper on it.
Even if they just stay where they are. I mean, this is not, this is going to take some time to unwind, but looking at these metrics, these are like big red alarm bells going off. Something's coming, something big is coming. And it's, it's the end of the US dollar. I mean, look at the last 5 years of dollar hegemony, 5 to 10 years. I mean, 10 years ago, prior to that, we had, if a country even threatened to trade outside of the dollar, oil for gold or oil for euros, they were overthrown, right? I'm speaking of Saddam. I'm speaking of what's his name, Gaddafi.
Libya, Muammar Gaddafi.
Yes. Yep. Yes. So these were regimes that literally threatened the dollar hegemony and were overtaken and invaded, and weapons of mass destruction and all that stuff. But now, and then that was prior to 10 years ago. About 10 years or so ago, we started seeing nations trading. It just became open. Maybe it was five plus years ago, openly trading oil for euros, oil for gold. And it's gotten considerably worse. I mean, now we're in an emperor has no clothes moment. Our government, our presidency, our Federal Reserve, our regulatory bodies. I mean, we're a laughing stock, literally. Our regulatory bodies. This FTX debacle that went down with the crypto crash a month ago it shows the collusion and the fraud going into the SEC, the CFTC, the Democratic Party, the war in Ukraine. I mean, tens of billions of dollars of money laundering. All here it is, right in the open for everybody to see. And it's like, so it's crazy, man.
Yeah, now we've got companies, Bed Bath and Beyond, and companies are laying off. Companies are going to go out of business. It's just starting to accelerate, and it's going to be like a snowball gaining more and more momentum. I have a good friend that I worked with for many, many years. He voted for Biden, and I was talking to him about his stock portfolio. He's still in his 401k, and he says, I'm getting killed. I invested in tech stocks and they've been doing bad. And but he's hopeful. He says, yeah, Biden's got things, he's getting a hold of things. And I think early this year or sometime at the second half of this year, it's going to turn around and we're going to be in good shape. And I said, really? He really believes that?
Yeah. Well, the normalcy bias, right? The people that have experienced a certain way of life, a certain performance of the stock market or the Federal Reserve or the dollar for their whole life, right? I mean, we're decades and decades into this experiment. And so people get used to that, and, you threaten change, and some people really aren't open to it. And so those that dig their heels in the sand continue to dig them even deeper. And, we've seen it with the medical stuff. I mean, the last few years with the vaccine and the COVID and all of the misinformation and this and that. I mean, it's in everybody's face,
Yep.
But yeah, these are unprecedented times, man, completely unprecedented. I mean, I can't believe we're still sitting here having this conversation in 2023, but it's a testament to how complex everything. I mean, I thought this whole thing would have been unraveled 5 years ago.
I thought it was going to happen sooner. But it's a big system, and I think that those in control are unraveling it at their own pace. They're not letting it go into free fall, and they have unlimited free. They can make money out of nothing. Right. Okay, so we're about how to protect yourself and how to thrive in chaotic times. And I met you in 2018, and I shorted the system. I took most of my money out of my 401k. I still have about 10% left in. I didn't go that final bit, and I'm going to do that with you soon. But what I did was, after meeting you at a Litecoin conference, getting to know
the inaugural Litecoin conference. Yep.
Those were the good old days. I took the money out of my 401k, and you helped me make a self-directed IRA, all legal, all with no penalties, no interest paid, no taxes. I rolled it over into my self-directed IRA, excuse me, and I can use that to buy gold, silver, in my case, cryptos. You transmitted the cryptos to me. They're in a wallet, in a safe. It's a privately held cold storage wallet. And even with the recent downturn in cryptos, I'm still way farther ahead than I would have been leaving it in my pension or the stock market or the traditional system. So how do people go about doing that? Well, tell us about Perpetual Assets.
Well, thanks for that, buddy. Perpetual Assets is the company, perpetualassets.com. We learned about this type of self-directed IRA some 13 years ago now, 13 years. And it's a unique type of platform. We're basically just setting it up. It's a legal and consulting service to create it. And so that's what we do. We set it up and teach you how to use it and the ins and outs, and consult you through it if you're planning on investing in foreign real estate or cryptos or
I went fully into cryptos, and I know you can do precious metals, but what options are available for your own self-directed IRA? What can you?
Really, the sky is the limit. So what you're limited to is what you're legally limited to per the IRS. So we can't invest in collectibles. So no, collectible cars or
Well,
collectible
I couldn't buy a
coins.
vintage Martin guitar.
Right, no vintage
okay.
stuff. So stay away from collectibles. Stay away from life insurance contracts. That's a no-no. And then self-dealing, which is basically loaning yourself money or
I made an NFT and I'm going to buy my own NFT. That
perfect example. Yep, exactly. Don't fund yourself. Don't do business with yourself, but you can be the manager of this, the custodial manager, if you will, of your own IRA, and you manage all the investments and as you wish. You can be as complicated or simple as you want it to be. Right? For guys like some people, park it all into silver or into Bitcoin and just I'm going to sit on it and see what happens. Some people say, hey, I'm going to do a trading account over here and I'm going to trade stocks. I'm going to have my metals stored over there. I'm going to have my cryptos in cold storage here. And so you can do all kinds of things, real estate, private equity, you name it. So it's really flexible.
This is not financial advice. Don't take any financial advice from me. I'm a retired newscaster from Hawaii, but I'm going to tell you what I did, and I'll tell you my experience. There came a day when Mimi, my wife, said, yes, let's do the self-directed IRA with Perpetual Assets and Lehr. And she said, did you do that? I said, no, I'm going to do it tomorrow. She says, do that. And I said, okay, I'm busy. I'll do it next week. I put it off. But one day I did call. It was Voya, which had previously been T. Rowe Price. And I called my representative and I said, I want to roll this over. And he said, okay, fine. What's the company? I said, Perpetual Assets. And he said, he asked for your identification number or something. And he said, oh, totally. They're totally reputable, totally accredited. It's all legal. And I said, well, if I take X amount out, what penalty do I pay? He said, no penalty. Do I get tax? No, you're rolling it over to a self IRA, so there's no tax. I said, you send me a check, it doesn't cost me anything, and I get to buy Bitcoin and hold it myself. Yep, that's what I did. Perpetual Assets made the LLC for me, did all the paperwork, and did the transaction, and I was very happy. I've done very well in that. So how do people get a hold of you? How do people do that if they want to protect themselves? What are the steps they need to do, Will?
Yeah, if you perpetualassets.com, you can find us there. Our phone number's up there as well. You can contact us there and email us if you like. If you have an IRA or an old 401k or one of these type of pensions or retirement accounts, and you're worried about the way things are looking, we may be able to help get that out of there and put it into the self-directed vehicle. So that's an option. We're also a metals dealer and a cryptocurrency dealer as well. So we can help there, whether IRA or not, if you're looking to acquire either of those assets, which seem to be at this point in time, sort of the last frontier. I've been in finance and money management my whole life, and I've dealt with money managers, many of them that in their, far more decades more seasoned than myself. And it's a recurring conversation to those of us that are red-pilled as to how things work in the financial system. There's a recurring theme there. Where can I put my money? Where else can I go other than metals and cryptos? And there's really, there's certain real estate, there's resource rich real estate, commodities, but commodities are, it's hard to invest in a bunch of barrels of oil or whatever. So, metals and cryptos are an easy way for the average person to get exposure to these tangible commodities and actually remove them from the banking system. So there's no counterparty risk.
Where do you see metals going? What's your outlook for gold and silver?
Well, I think the US dollar, the metals being priced on the COMEX is a scheme to control the pricing mechanism that's been going on for a long time. So the prices are priced on a paper marketplace. They're not real metrics.
They make pieces of paper that represent so-called gold and silver, but there's no gold and silver to back it up. And they control the price of the real metal by that.
Yes, and the dollar system, the dollar hegemony is what powers all of that. So until we see cracks in the dollar facade, we're already seeing cracks, but until we see the flipping of the dollar hegemony, which is, weeks, months, probably not years away at this point, maybe one or two, we'll see metals just, I will probably see, the silver supply side is so tight and has been for years now, that if there's any major news, major interest in silver, it could be technological based. It might not even be monetary based, but it's so tight that if the price of silver crashes right now, like let's say the stock market's crash, the banks, we have another Lehman event, and the COMEX crashes and we see, $15 silver or $10 silver or whatever, you're not going to be able to get the physical for that price. I know our Jay Snip, one of our friends, has this dream about $6 silver. Like there's no way you're going to be able to acquire it. I've been in this business long enough. I've seen these paper price crashes before, where it crashes overnight and the market freaks out and buys as much physical, and premiums jack through the roof, and then supply is gone and you can't get any more for weeks, or it's hard. So it's already very tight. Silver at $25 to me is a big floor. Is
the spot price 25 right now? What's the spot price today?
Let's see. Roughly, it was recently 24. Yeah. 23.
Okay, you're not going to get an ounce of silver for $24. What's an ounce going to cost you? $30?
No, you can get in for figure $3 over spot, $27. So 27, you can get an ounce, which is reasonable. As recently as 6-8 weeks ago, maybe 3 months, premiums have come back down, but they were even higher. Silver Eagles, forget about it. Eagles are $40 a piece or something, $38 a piece, because of supply issues. That's a perfect testament to supply side. If you want Silver Eagles, you're going to pay almost $40 a pop for them. So it's only a matter of time before that happens to the entire market.
I have some gold. I have some silver. I own the place I live, but I'm pretty bullish on cryptos. I'm Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Chainlink, Theta, Digibyte, Litecoin, to name a few.
Yeah, those are all great.
What's your feeling? Where do you see cryptos going? This has been a trying time, the FTX thing. I think it's being slammed on purpose to bring in regulations. What are your thoughts on FTX and where cryptos are going?
Yeah, the powers that be that control the monetary levers, the bankers, what do they want? They want a CBDC. They want a central bank digital currency, so that they can take their old scheme from the dollar and just print new money with digital currency and have everybody on this digital, and then control everybody even better. It's even way better than cash, right? For them to control people and monitor everything and force people into their little corner. So the FTX thing makes perfect sense when we look at all of the strings attached to it and who was involved. And it was not only allowed to happen, it was a created event in order to, I think it was one of these kill multiple birds with one stone type of deals for them. But one of them is to bring in intensive regulation into the crypto industry. And if you just listen to the talking heads right now, the Kramers of the world and these guys, crypto is going to be killed by regulation. Even the Robert Kiyosaki's, I like him. Even those guys, crypto is going to get killed by regulation. SEC's coming in. This is the mouthpiece. This is the narrative that they're pushing. Okay, it all makes perfect sense. FTX, they want to slam everything else. They want to show you all this fraud, and then they want to push regulation hardcore. We've known for a long time in the crypto industry, we need a massive washout. We need failure of 90% of these tokens, because most of them are garbage. Those that aren't garbage are fraud, money laundering schemes and the like. So this is going to take some time, I think, still to unravel. But crypto has always surprised me. We could break this. The bottom could have been last week, and now we're already breaking out into a new bull market.
I was talking to our analyst, and he says that might have been the bottom last week.
It might have been. It could have been, or we could go to $10,000, $12,000 Bitcoin in a couple months. I have no idea.
we could see a failure of another exchange. We could see a failure of Tether. There are any number of curveballs they could throw at us, and you could see Bitcoin down below 10,000. So
I think so, but I think with that, you're going to see failures. You're going to see exchanges fail. We're already seeing exchanges fail. Nobody wants to put in market limit orders anymore. And when you put a limit order in on Gemini, for example, you have to put your dollars into Gemini, take my $10,000, and I want to buy one Bitcoin if it hits $10,000 or whatever. So they hold your capital now. So if Gemini crashes, there goes my 10 grand. So nobody's those numbers of limit order volume have decreased dramatically because people aren't trusting the exchanges anymore. So if we do have a flash crash, I think the exchanges, many of them are going to go with it. If you remember the good old days, I mean, when Bitcoin would have a flash crash, it was orchestrated too, almost as if it was orchestrated. Coinbase would freeze. Maintenance, server issues, not just Coinbase.
We're just unavailable for now. Check back later.
All of the major exchanges did that. And Coinbase being the biggest, especially at the time, the only really reputable one at the time, it was like, how is this? This is so obvious. And it would happen. It would be a few hours, and then the flash crash would be over, and the exchange would open back up.
Funniest thing, we're back in business. Yeah.
Those work for them, but not for us.
Even with these troubles, all this bad news, all this fear, Bitcoin still is 18,000. And here's a statistic I heard, I forget who was one of the major YouTubers who does good research said 90% of all the Bitcoin has been created. It's 90% mined. There's not that much left, and it gets harder and harder. And of that 90% that's now in circulation, it's not really being circulated. People are holding it. The number of small individual wallets is going up. And I don't own much Bitcoin, but what I have, it's locked away. I'm not moving it around.
How much of that 90% is lost forever? I mean, I personally know people who lost, who can't find huge, 8-figure sums of Bitcoin now. So, I mean, imagine how much of that 90% is gone forever because people lost their password, or back when they were mining, hundreds and thousands of Bitcoin on a laptop, and the laptop's gone,
So 21 million total Bitcoin, according to the code, and quite a significant number of those are already lost forever. Well, maybe not lost forever. They may have computer power to go find that. That's a whole different can of worms. But the main thing is, it can't be inflated like the US dollar. It's not like gold. You can go find more gold. If the price of gold goes up, you can afford to go out to the ends of the earth and find a new gold mine. Bitcoin, they're not going to make anymore. So that's why I'm big into Bitcoin.
And it's a global phenomenon too, Dick. It's global. I mean, I just heard recently about the Russian government is working with Russian industry and businesses to incorporate Bitcoin as a form of payment structure. And this ties into the ruble being backed by gold. You could basically have a de facto gold backing to Bitcoin via the ruble if this happens. So it's we get very centric on the US and the Federal Reserve and the SEC and the regulations and the banking system and the SWIFT system. And dude, it's a big world out there between the Asians, the Russians, all of Europe. Africa, there's infrastructure all over the world that is using this, that is incorporating this. And so, the genie's out of the bottle at this point. I mean, all of this is an incredible buying opportunity. Yes, we could go lower, but you're going to run into the problem of actually getting supply. And this is when you want to buy, when there's blood in the streets, when all the talking heads say Bitcoin is dead, Bitcoin's going to zero, Bitcoin's a scam, that's when you want to slowly start buying in.
if you just look at the dispassionately at the evidence, do some research and look at what's happening to our basic financial system and see what the potential is there. The potential of that is for a huge, huge crash, for the whole thing to be destroyed. And if you look at the potential for cryptos and precious metals, there's a much better upside. It's been what we've been saying for years at Cryptoviewing is that we are witnessing the transition to a new financial system. The old fiat system, the Jekyll Island experiment, it could only last, they expected it to last 80 to 100 years, and it's well past its expiration date. So we're coming to a new financial system, and it's going to be blockchain based. So again, not financial advice, but I didn't go all in with Lehr, but I went about 70% in, and I'm very glad I did. And I'm going to go another 10 or 20% here soon. I'm going to roll the rest of that over. So folks, Perpetual Assets, Lehr, I've known you 5 years now. I just sleep so much better at night knowing that my investments are tucked away in a cold storage wallet. There's going to be a day when you're going to wake up and it's going to be like the stock market is like, they're going to have it on the screen on the cable news, and it'll be in red, and it'll be going, oh my God, it's down another 100 points. Oh, it's down. Oh, they stopped trading. And you will be trying to call your representative of Charles Schwab, T. Rowe Price, whoever, wherever you keep it. You won't be able to get through. And you'll get pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
That's very likely. Or you could have it in your own system, look on your wallet and go, wow, I just made X number of X, this many X. It is so, the endorphin rush you get. I didn't cash out last November. Not last November, November 21. Mm-hmm. But there were some days there where Mimi and I were looking at our little investment that we made with RRA, the IRA that you made for me, and I had it on a Trezor wallet linked to an Exodus. And I'd look at that and go, look at that money we put in, it's the X amount, and we'd high five. It's good. Still doing well.
Yeah.
All right, Will, stay safe there in Texas. Folks, I completely endorse Will Lehr at Perpetual Assets. They've helped me and secured our financial future. I'm sure of it. So,
well, our company motto is trust yourself, and we don't do anything other than just provide the logistics. Clients come to us and say, "This is what I want to do. I've made up my mind." And
tell
so
them you got here by Cryptoviewing, and you get a better deal.
Yeah, tell them Dick sent you, and actually Dick gets a little commission, which for those of us that appreciate shows like Cryptoviewing, these guys are on the front lines. This is your second, third, fourth YouTube channel now. Are we even on YouTube?
I'll put this on YouTube. I'm going to put this out for our private people first, and then
you guys are on the front lines, man. And I've seen, we closed our YouTube channel down 6-7 years ago because I was tired of it. I couldn't put out the effort for all of the shadow
the
banning and everything else.
Self-censorship that you have to go through, like thinking, can I say this? Am I going to get in trouble if I, and it in your heart is true.
Yeah.
One day, Will, and you and I talked about this, I think 3 years ago, but there's going to come a day when we're going to have a community of people that have invested in cryptos, and we're going to be fabulously wealthy, and we're going to be able to do some good with that money. And we're going to be able to, we're putting in the hard work now to, first of all, safeguard our lifetime investments, and then beyond safeguarding it, make it flourish and get tremendous wealth. And cryptos will bring that.
Absolutely. The philanthropy
there will be a time
in the space.
when when we can pool our resources and do something good and do something to benefit mankind, and that will be really cool when we can.
And it's already happening too. I'm seeing it already happen on a smaller scale. So it's really interesting to think as this gets bigger and bigger, where does this go as far as building schools and, you name it. It's really exciting.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about it. There's another guy I know in Hawaii that came up and met me on the beach. He's a little bit younger. He's a retired military guy. He's about 50, but he calls me uncle. And he says, "Uncle, I want to help somebody. I want to be like a secret Santa. I want to do it anonymously. When cryptos go and I have a lot of money, I want to find people and be able to help them." I said, "Me
That's
too.
awesome.
Won't that be fun?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the future is going to be chaotic. It's going to be tumultuous, but you can protect yourself and you can assure that you can thrive in this chaos. And that's what cryptoviewing is about. That's what Perpetual Assets is about. So,
yeah.
All right.
Everybody eat healthy. Happy New Year. Exercise. Keep your brain right. Keep your body right, because we've got a battle to get through, and let's harden ourselves so that we can do so. It's going to be mentally exhausting. It's we think about our loved ones and our extended friends and family, and it's gonna be rough. So anyway,
yeah,
much love to everybody out there.
We're already losing people, friends and people, and famous people. They're dying faster than they used to. I don't want to get too much into that, but yeah.
I lost a 44-year-old friend of mine dead. Yep.
Well, we will thrive, flourish, and we have a mission here, and we're going to do well. Always good to talk with you, Will. We need to do this more often.
I always enjoy it.
.com.
I enjoy it very much, Dick, and thanks for everything you've done and continue to do. And you guys at Cryptoviewing, just paving the way. The research that you guys put out there, the community around you guys, and the information that you produce that we're able to cipher through along with other sources. It's keeping people healthy. It's keeping people alive. It's amazing. So kudos, brother, and always a pleasure.
All right. Aloha.
Cheers.